What is up, Insomniacs? We have another episode. Not really an episode. We have another upgrade video for my Toyota Tacoma Sasha. So today we're doing the second part to the installation of the SwitchPros into my Taco. The last video we had the power tray that we got all set up and thrown together and got that put down under the hood. And now we're gonna get to go into the cab and actually do some stuff that we can see on a day-to-day, aka that little switch panel, getting that installed inside of the dashboard. I'll show you how that works. Pretty cool. And then yeah, we're gonna get it fired up and turned on and see what happens. I don't know. Catch you guys in a second. My dudes, disregard all of the random Tacoma parts. You've seen all of my upgrade videos for the skid plates and whatnot. But today we have more stuff that we're going to be getting thrown in. So we have this guy, which is the SDHQ SwitchPros dashboard mount. So we're going to get this guy thrown in. On top of that, just for future, I don't have them right now, but I have the button assembly. I'm going to be getting my puddle pod buttons thrown in here since I'm already going to be underneath or inside of the dashboard. So a little sneak peek at what's coming next here in a few weeks. Other than that, we're going to have to be running this cable through the firewall from the SwitchPros under the hood to that cable right there inside of the dash, and then running this other power cable as well. And that will pretty much end where we're at. But yeah, we got some protective cables and other things that we can throw on as needed. So all right, let's get into it. We do have the SwitchPros kind of in the way here. I'll probably end up unplugging the cable just so I don't have to worry about nicking anything. But we're going to take a really long screwdriver. I don't know where I have one. I might just use a fishing pole or something. But if you can see right on the other side of that G2 pad, I'll throw a little thing on the screen so you can see what I'm pointing at. But that little gray rubber grommet in there, that is where the rubber is that we're going to be punching a hole through in order to get to the inside of the cab. So I'm sitting right here, right under the hood, right behind the SwitchPros, and it is that little gray tab in there. So before I start stabbing things through my firewall, we are actually going to have to pop off this plate as well as this plate right here. And this one has up here by your foot, you can't see it too well, I'll show you when I take it off, but there's a little screw actually. So yeah, there's a little screw right there that we can undo, and then that'll allow us to slide these guys out. So let's do that. So this guy literally comes off super easy. He's just got these little clips along the side here that clip into the plastic part there, and then a couple of guides. And this one legit has that screw right there. It's mounted right up there at your foot. And then just that one little pop tab right down here that kind of slides in on the edge right there. So I ended up using a knife to kind of cut open the hole a little bit more. But there it is. You can see the screwdriver with the duct tape wrap just kind of sticking through, right? So I'm going to peel off that duct tape as best as I can and pull those cables through. And once again, that's the ignition cable, that light blue, and then the power cable for the SwitchPros, but I'll show you that. You got the ignition cable and the power for the SwitchPros itself. And that's it. And next, I'm gonna hop in. I gotta take this old thingamajig out. So we're gonna get this guy pulled out. There's just little press tabs along the inside. So I've got my trim removal tool that I just have from previous projects on the truck. And then we're gonna get this guy taken off, and yeah, get the new one put in. Boom. So now we're going to take these plugs off right here, 1, 2, and 3, and then we can remove these buttons just by kind of like popping them out. I got a blank right here. But yeah, so we're going to get these guys unplugged. And there you have it. All the old switches are out. I got them laying here on the floor. We're going to get them installed into the new SwitchPros, and then or into the new SDHQ thingamajig, and then we'll go from there. All right, so now that those are all plugged in, we're gonna get this guy, all these ones plugged back in the back here. Make sure they're all in there good. And then we can take the SwitchPros power cable right here, and we're gonna run it up through the back there. Find a good little spot. That's convenient right there. And then we are going to plug it in, giving just enough slack to let us hook her in just like that. And then we'll tuck her all back together. Alright, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. So I have it in, right? And though it looks good, it is not fully installed. So this actually will completely come off. The screws that come with the SwitchPros require you to screw this thing into the back. But in order to add these parts, which are the back brace that keep this solid against the SDHQ dash mount, this, as you can see, overhangs, right? Which kind of makes sense, you know, you want it to be mounted well into the dash. However, without taking the entirety of the dash apart, which I don't want to do, I don't think it'd be too difficult. I just don't feel like doing it right now. I cannot install these, which means that this cannot be installed. Now, I also realized that this blank right here is a tall switch, which is one of the older versions for Toyota. Now, everything is turned to the short switches, right? But because this is a tall switch, I cannot install my puddle pod switch there. So I think I'm going to order a Cali raised one of these instead that already has this basically that you can screw into the plastic of the plate itself rather than having these extra like back piece mounts and whatnot. And also, so it moves this to the left and it adds another switch slot right here, and that is a short switch, so I can hook up my puddle pods. So I think for now I'm just going to leave this as is, you know, very loose in here, and I'll show you what it looks like whenever this new one gets here. We'll show you the rest of that. But we're going to continue on with the install anyways right now, and this is just going to be, you know, loose. So doing a little bit of cable management, I'm going to be actually plugging this guy in. As awkward as this is, give me a second. Okay, so I got the SwitchPros switch panel plugged in right there. I'll pull some slack here in a second, but I'm going to be pulling the slack for the ignition wire as well. So the ignition cable only has to go about this long. So I'm going to grab my wire strippers. I'll leave a little bit of slack in there, and I'll probably cut it right about right there, and then we're going to tie it into the ignition. Yes, I do have the car battery unplugged. So we're going to be unclipping this top right here. And this green, this lime green, is allegedly the ignition cable. So I'm going to use my knife. And then in the kit, we have supplied with us these little T-clamps. So this literally goes over top of the wire. You close it up, you pinch it down, and that leaves a little slot right there for electrical connection to be made, which we'll then use this side. We're going to crimp the blue ignition cable on, and then this just snaps into place. So we're going to get this guy lined up here on this green cable, and now she's on there just like that, tapped in. Sweet. So now, so we know that's going to run to there. This is fully tight, and it's going to be going right about, we have a little bit of slack, so we're thinking right about here. We're going to cut it, we're going to strip it, clips into place just like that. Little tug, and then plug her in, and then right back in she goes. Bada bing. Easy peasy. Okay, so I've cleaned up under the engine. I've cleaned up relatively just down here. I gotta tuck it all up once I piece it back together. And then I still gotta worry about these two cords. But I did get my Raptor lights switched over, so I got the ground hooked up on here. And then the switch number 1 position, I have the red wire or the hot wire. Once I connect the battery, allegedly this is all good to go. It is hooked into the ignition, so it should fire up. I'm excited, and everything is hooked up the way it should be right now, so I think we are good to fire it up. So here's the hope. I do have an orange blinking light, so that's a positive, I think. And here we go. Light turned blue. Oh my god, it works. I got my headlights on right now. Raptor lights are on. If I push this first button right here, hopefully, they're still on. Alrighty guys, so I gotta update you. It's been about 2 weeks since I've messed with this guy. Just kind of going to the cab here. So you'll see my SwitchPros 8-button switch panel is currently not installed, right? The cable's just kind of laying down on the ground. I had it tucked up in there. I was messing with it just a little bit ago. I did a little bit of troubleshooting myself. I was working with a company. They were very kind, very understanding, and very willing to work with me, which was awesome. Said, hey, your thing is fine, so whatever it is, it has to be on your end. So either way, it's not here, but I am going to be swapping this guy out whenever I get the new one with a new little panel to go in here that moves this to the left a little bit and then adds one of these short buttons right here so I can put my puddle pod switch in there. What I've done for troubleshooting, I really don't need to go through everything entirely because a lot of it didn't do anything, right? So I don't know really if that light necessarily, or light connection, the white wire has to be plugged in for it to function the way that I want it to, but I plugged it in anyways. I got it hooked up to my daytime running lights. You can't see it too well in here. Hold up, let me get a flashlight out. That white wire there plugged into the red, I have it spliced into the positive connection. It's hooked up to my marker lights. So the little orange bulb that lights up this side panel right here is what the thingamajig, the lights is hooked up to. Most people, I mean, I hook them up to my low beam, but to be completely honest with you, when I turn the low beam on, it turns on the marker lights, and it doesn't matter what's going on, right? If the daytime running lights are on, meaning that the headlights are off, the marker light is also off. So this actuates with the headlight. And in case I messed it up, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I didn't want to fuck with the headlight itself, so I used the marker light in case I made a mistake, and I didn't, because it works great. So we'll see if that does what it's supposed to do. And then I'm going through looking at some stuff, right? Because I'm like, obviously it's on my end. That's what the people said. They said that their equipment's totally fine, and I believe them. And so I was like, there's got to be something wrong here, right? I looked at the wires. I verified all of the wires are coming out of the proper connection in this plug. I verified all of the wires are coming out of the proper connection in this plug, right? The 4 one that goes to the 8 button thingamajig in the cab. Those were all fine on both ends, right? So I was like, well, what the heck else would it be? And so I'm going through using my multimeter and I'm checking the grounds. So it's raining right now. I was gonna just chill out under the hood with you guys, but instead we're gonna hang out with Arrow. I do like the rain, you know. This isn't the most comfortable seat. I hope you can see me. Sorry about the rolled sleeve and the not rolled sleeve. I got some sick new ink. So the SwitchPros company is quite incredible. I gotta say, the customer service has really been quite exceptional. I'm very impressed, and I would honestly highly recommend, at least from a customer service standpoint, the SwitchPros to anyone, right? Because they've been nothing but helpful. I don't know what the issue is yet, and I did receive the SwitchPros back in the mail from the company. I reinstalled it into Sasha, and I ran through everything just to see, you know, if it would work. Obviously, it didn't, because I didn't change anything. They didn't find anything wrong. So they got on the phone with me, actually, like the CEO of the company got on the phone with me, which is pretty wild. and we had a short conversation, just kind of ran through the things that I did, and they had me completely uninstall the SwitchPros from the truck. So I still have the power tray in there, but I took the SP9100 and the 8-button switch panel, along with the 16-pin connector with all those colored rainbow wires, and the little 4-pin cable that runs from the 8-button switch panel to the SP9100, and I got those put in the box. Oh, and the power cable. But I got those put in the box and shipped back to SwitchPros themselves. They are going to take all of the assembly, right, and they're going to throw it on the bench, and they're going to figure out exactly what's wrong with it. So they think that it's an issue with the ground and the SwitchPros itself. So they're going to take a look at it, they're going to figure out what's wrong, and then they're going to let me know. So I'm going to cut off this video where we're at. Everything for the install is exactly as it was, right? Just there's some sort of a wiring issue with mine, so I'm going to get out a part 3 video for you guys, for anybody who might have this problem in the future, so that you can reference this, and then you can say, hey, SwitchPros, this is exactly what happened. Pretty sure it's the same problem that this dude was having, and you guys helped him out, so this is probably what it is if you want to check it out. So I'll get that part 3 out to you probably tomorrow. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm sorry it is a little bit disappointing, but I promise you, SwitchPros is great. They're definitely going to figure out what the heck is happening, what the heck is going on, and we'll get that SwitchPros reinstalled back into the truck, and then we'll get that turned on and running, and we'll be able to show you guys what it looks like. So I'm really excited. I really can't wait to get this thing working. Yeah. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Midnight sign out.